Hello and welcome back to JOSKA-SKA-SKA. I'm Sam.
And I'm Jim.
And we have a winner for show name.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I conceded and I allowed JOSKA-SKA-SKA to be the name of this show.
I'm glad. But welcome back to the finale of at least the best Fully Cooley season.
I can by
default?
Yeah, not even by default. Like with no stretch of the imagination, this is definitely the best season of Fully Cooley.
I'm not going to contest that.
I can tell you that for sure, even though I have not seen a second of the other ones.
So welcome to our Fully Cooley recap discussion. I have watched Fully Cooley a lot growing up, and Jim's first time actually going through it.
This was my first time actually watching all of Fully Cooley.
And
we're finished, so we watched episodes 5 and 6 today.
Yeah, arguably episode 5 is like my fucking favorite.
Episode 5 was very good. It was like the most where I really felt the...
Gydax?
Well, not even that. Like, I felt the most Imaishi.
Yes.
It felt very Trigger, more so than Gynax.
It really did.
I think there's kind of like a little difference.
How much of it felt like Panty and Stocking and like Gurren Lagann stuff?
Because that was the one that had the extended South Park scene.
Yes.
Which is something from Panty and Stocking, which Imaishi also directed.
Yes.
A lot of like the random character designs, like the little background secret agent guys, looked very like the way Imaishi draws background. That one sequence must have just all been done by Imaishi. The big gun shootout.
Oh yeah.
In the barbershop.
So good. So yeah. So I'm not sure if you wanted to start with the episode, or do you want to have some like overall thoughts about?
Let's save overall thoughts for the very end.
Okay.
And let's start. So what's episode 5 called? Brittle Bullet.
Brittle Bullet. Yes.
Okay, I remember.
Yes. Good job. So
Thank you.
As we kind of start out in like an airsoft match, and we kind of see Haruko and Naota in an airsoft match against his dad and what's it called? In County?
This one was more... all the scenes at like his house are like fever dreams. This one is even more so like a fever dream.
I told you, oh yeah, this is the gun episode, Jim. And
it was literally, and that was a great way of describing
the
it.
gun porn episode.
It was just the gun episode.
Yeah, and as we see an obvious reference to, like, he's dressed like Lupin, and he also does the thing of like trying to jump into the crotch of a woman, like with the Lupin trope.
Yeah, well, so I think there's a ton of Lupin jokes with the dad. Like, they make all these references about Lupin's jacket color, because that's like a thing. Like, each part of Lupin, because Lupin also, like JoJo, is split into parts. Each part of Lupin has a different color jacket, and they make a whole reference. They're like, oh, I like the green jacket better, and the dad's like, well, the blue jacket is what.
The red jacket's the most iconic.
Yeah, red. Yeah, whatever. Which is funny because I think, to me, like the Lupin I saw on TV growing up was the green jacket.
Really?
So
I always think of the red one.
I think that was the one. I think because I know Adult Swim aired a Lupin show. Is Cagliostro the one that's red? Because they even name dropped the Castle of Cagliostro.
I think so.
That's the only like Lupin that I've actually watched, which is wonderful. It's technically not Ghibli.
The kind of Ghibli.
It's directed by Miyazaki, but it was pre-Ghibli. I want to just look up really quick.
Unofficial Ghibli.
Yeah, basically. It's like retroactively Ghibli.
But yeah, we get some of his dad trying to get into Haru's pants and everything.
That is a green. So the Castle Cagliostro is it's green jacket.
Okay,
green
I always think
Lupin.
the red one.
It's funny. He's a dark pants and a green jacket.
Well,
that's such a good fucking movie. Also, I think the kaiju monster at the end is like a reference to the hat guy, because it's like a big hat.
Oh,
I forget his name. I don't know.
Yeah. He's one of his crew.
To me, that felt like a Lupin reference as well. But also, yeah, the scene where he jumps out of his clothes and then the girl has like a punching bag in her crotch. I think that is also just a Lupin gag. Like,
I believe so as well.
I remember seeing that as a YouTube clip of that before. So I guess the big Lupin heads in this episode.
But basically, his dad challenges to a duel essentially, because Haru kind of gets all over Naoto and all that, all the standard stuff you've seen them interacting with.
Yeah, she's like, it's gotten like, it's ramped up more and more, and so she kisses him, right? That's the thing. Oh, so yeah, what happens? So yeah, the whole thing is she's like in her towel, and you see her ass.
Yes.
It's crazy because they tease it a little bit. I actually went on Sakagaboro to see what scenes Imaishi directed, or I guess he animated, and he did do the scene where she sways and you see like the little tease of like her thigh and her ass.
There's a lot of butt swaying in the.
There is, but then you actually just do see her ass, like.
And you gotta know, like,
later.
She's not wearing anything underneath as well, so like.
Oh, she's not wearing anything.
Yeah.
But so what happens is she's like over Naota, and he has. So the new thing out of his head is like the cock, the thing that makes it cock.
Yes.
Get it?
Yeah.
So I think the whole joke is that this might be like an American like take on the joke, but so every time he gets like an assholey, he acts like an asshole.
When he gets kind of full of himself, where you're the hero, right? And he gets like
when he gets cocky, the gun cocks.
Yes.
The hammer. It's called the hammer.
The hammer.
The hammer cocks back, and then so the hammer cocks back, and then it jerks him upwards, and he kisses her on the lips. And that's when his dad sees it and gets
changes
jealous.
colors.
I really like the joke of his dad just literally shifting through like every color. Very funny.
But yeah, they have their airsoft match, and it's like him and Naruto and Haru versus his dad and Kanti. And his dad just has a Nazi uniform on.
He does just have. It is like a literal actual swastika.
And I literally cannot remember if this was censored or not in like the Adult Swim version of it.
It's funny because at the time that would have aired, I don't think it would have been, but now I think they would not show that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a weird time. The 90s were like then leaking out into like the early 2000s. It was kind of a weird time about like what things were permitted and what things weren't.
Because I checked the wiki and it talked like the one episode. It talked about like one edit of like the other manga scene where his balls are showing, where they edit that out with a painting, but like I didn't see anything about this one. So.
Is that an episode? That's an episode 6, the last one. Okay, because she comes back.
So yeah, but there was no information about the Nazi uniform being censored at all.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't censored. But yeah, he has like a very long, kind of like Luger-like gun, which is also a gun that like the Germans used. But
then we have a commander come out with the 50 cal trying to basically assassinate Kanti, and I love her design. I love like the whole like Russian kind of outfit.
Yeah, to me that feels like a reference to oh my god, what's it called? It's like one of those other classic there's like a classic space anime from like the 70s and 80s.
Wouldn't be surprised.
It's like a train one, and there's a big tall blonde woman with blue eyes. I think it was kind of a similar costume to the one she has.
But I love that costume. I love her over the top 50 cal. But she gets derobed throughout the entire episode, where you see her ass completely, her under boob.
It's really funny because so the whole there's like a lot of like antics happening between.
The main thing with her is just like she falls in love with Kanti because he's trying to shoot Kanti, and Kanti just wants to help her, and she just falls in love with him. Yeah,
because at first she's terrified of him. Because at first Naota and Kanti are fighting like with their fake guns, and then she actually starts shooting Kanti, and Kanti can take the bullets because Kanti's like a fucking super robot. And then she's terrified of him, but then he's like nice to her, so she falls in love with him, which is very funny.
And at the same time, we're just gonna talk about this before we get to like the meat, but she's like on the phone with the eyebrows, and it goes into South Park. It literally just becomes South Park.
Yeah, very much like what happens in Panty and Stocking a few years later. Like it just becomes. It's funny though because in this, I don't know if it must be like maybe it's like this in the original Japanese, but the whole like tone changes.
Yeah, the voice actor
does like an impersonation of like Trey and
a South Park voice like this.
Yeah, they do like that kind of and there's a girl in the background, her eyes do the X thing that the South Park characters do when they close their eyes. It's like it's like a very faithful
I think the way they say like because the entire crew really loves the show. I'm like, yeah, it definitely shows because they literally make Naoto look like Kenny in like later on in the episode.
I'm really wondering. I wonder if they actually cut out like because you know how like originally South Park was like cutouts, and
I could see that.
I wonder if they may have done that for that scene, which is really cool. Just like thinking about the timing of when this show was made.
Yeah.
Like because that would have been like kind of right before like digital anime like techniques became really popular.
In its very early days too. Like this is like what 99 2000.
I think so.
Maybe very early 2001, and South Park's only been out for like a few years maybe, which is. And like it really looks like early like first season South Park.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's very like scratchy. It's funny though. It's fun. And then like there's also a little Kenny gag again.
Yeah, we saw with Naoto, and he Kenny's up when basically he's being grilled.
Kenny's up.
He does. He puts the hoodie up. He does the muffled talk too.
It's very funny.
So
it's very weird.
And during this whole thing, Naoto meets up with his friends, his school friends. Like they're driving a car because they got a side job.
So yeah, they do like deliveries or whatever. But yeah, they drive a truck, and the explanation of like he's like, hey wait, but you're like in elementary school, and he's like, oh don't worry, we drive near the river, so it's fine, we won't get caught.
And then Nina Mori is like suggestively like eating a popsicle.
Best girl, my favorite character, Nina Mori.
Yeah, she's just like the way they drew her like eat like,
elementary schooler Nina Mori.
It's eating a popsicle. It's like insane.
It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty cool, right?
It's pretty good, right?
I'm gonna keep saying it different ways because we can.
It's pretty good, right? So she has like more of a toned down role in this episode. I guess because it's not her episode.
No,
but,
she had her episode. I told you that.
But she's still kind of there, and like there's still a bit of that little tension. And it's funny because they keep referring to oh my god, I forget her name again. The pink-haired girl. Mamimi. They keep referring to her as...
you can just say the high school girl, because everybody else calls her the high school girl.
That's true, they call her the high school girl. It's weird, because normally in anime, everyone's in high school, but...
No, these are elementary school kids until they get to middle school at the end.
They do get to middle school at the end.
They evolve. They level up.
They keep calling her... they refer to her as Naota's wife, which is funny.
One of them does.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's his wife. Didn't he break up with you?
But so yeah, what happens? Like literally, I don't even know. Does the part with the shootout in the barbershop happen next? Because this episode was so chaotic.
You see her like watch, like she is observing like him with Haru, and she kind of questions him about like oh, you like her, but then like Naoto tries to go like, but I like. It's like every time she presses on him, she tries to take her away for like a date and everything.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. So his whole thing is that he basically is acting more mature now.
Yeah, he's drinking sour stuff.
Is this when he's drinking the coffee, or is that the next episode?
That's next episode.
Okay, everything's blending together for me, because we're doing these two at a time. But yeah, so he's also he's supposed to be like taking more. He's being more cocky. He's taking more chances, and it's funny because
he's shooting his load. The proverbial load.
I like how you could have said shooting a shot instead. He said shooting his load.
Hey, people shoot. That's all people do are shooting their loads today. And also, she also gets we see a water gun. They're very highly detailed water gun.
I love that water gun. Yeah, Nina Mori gets the water gun.
It's fucking like amazingly detailed, more than any of the guns in the show.
It really is. Some of the guns are like over designed, and it's kind of funny because normally gun otaku like obsess over the details to try and make them look like accurate.
Like I said, with her 50 cal was like
the 50 cal's insane looking.
4 different things going on like from different guns. It's like very unique looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he tried to take her like on to like a cafe, and like this is like what you like, and
so okay, my thing here with Mamimi,
yes,
it's very weird because I kind of don't like her. Like not as a character. I think as a character she's very interesting, but as a person I think she's shitty because she's very like handsy and I would say like inappropriate with the way that she treats Naota.
Oh yeah.
And then Naota finally like actually showing agency.
He's showing the affection back at her.
Yeah, and then she's saying, "Oh, this is inappropriate. This is like, bitch, you fucking like kiss him, suck his earlobes. It's like it's inappropriate how she like expresses affection to him.
Yeah.
For being like so young. He's only 12. Like
yeah.
So fuck her for that. Very good character, but like
some of the 2/3 of these fucking women in the show are playing around with the main character, like towing him along.
Yeah, basically.
But at least not what's it called?
Nina Mori.
Nina Mori kind of was just like, I guess, kind of learned a lesson at the very end.
Nina Mori is also his age, and it makes sense for her to be more like
because she was actually
weird,
pretending to be
things.
mature, but like also just like not doing it, using her power in immature ways.
Yeah, whereas like the high school girl, Mamimi,
and
is
alien.
Like. Yeah, well, Haruko has no excuse for the way she treats people. But
you don't know how old she actually is.
Yeah, Mamimi is like such an enigma to me. I feel like I need to like watch this like 10 more times to understand her character.
And then basically, because like we see a lot of the revolver and everything, and he just like
it was a 3D. It was actually 3D animation, like a computer generated revolver too. They keep cutting to, which I thought was interesting.
And just like like my brother's not here, like fuck, like why not? Like I'm showing you, like
he's
you. Like you like me, don't you?
Yeah,
like, you've been like, showing yourself like.
And it just shows that, like, clearly she really doesn't have affection for Naota. She really only
just clinging on to him because it probably reminds her of his brother.
And she even said in like the first episode, she's like, that whole thing about like if I don't do these things, I get too full, and when I'm full, I overflow. And it's like it just shows that like Naota, she literally is using Naota as like a release valve for all of her like pent up sexual. Of feelings for his brother.
She doesn't want to light any more fires. She can't play Firestarter anymore.
Yeah.
But
damn, she's just a menace.
Pretty much.
It's weird that she's so absent in episode 3. She's like barely a character.
Yeah, she's an observer. Also, the one little thing about it's a little earlier, but like she's watching the gunfight and like they talk about like 7 of 9 from Star Trek, and she's like, actually, cyborgs and androids are like different. Actually,
yeah, she does an actually moment.
I do love that part though.
Yeah, that show keeps coming up. What was the other big reference? Oh, the Lupin thing. We mentioned that.
Lupin. She mentioned Rage Against the Machine and like.
Oh yeah, she name drops like a ton. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the part where she does the funny like Elvis cosplay.
Yeah, her design gets more like bigger and bigger. Her pompadour and her tethers. It's like a little thing, but basically we kind of cut away to the barbershop scene where we kind of
like the best part.
We kind of figure that they have a history together.
He even said like in the I think it was episode 4. Yeah, the baseball one.
We understand
talked about
what the relationship was like. I guess more. It was like it was using him like she used Naoto.
Yeah,
essentially, and we had the great fucking fight, animated fight.
Well, I love that a thing that she always does is just impersonate like random workers. Like she impersonates the barber.
Yeah, one of many. She just gets the uniform. She's like a hitman where she just gets the uniform. Like I have assumed this job. I am a DJ now.
Yeah, people just don't even think twice. They just look at her.
Bald person with a barcode on their back. Pink-haired girl with a very unique voice.
But yeah, this whole scene's great.
Using her bass with like a gun and everything, and just like it's just awesomely animated.
It's just it looks great. It's one of those scenes that just like. This is the scene that I was like, oh my god, this feels like Imaishi. Like the way the guys like smash through walls, like the way that everything moved. It has so much energy. It's just so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah. So yeah, I do have there's some commentary notes I found someone like watching, which by the YouTuber formerly known as DigiBro. Because apparently I can't just find like a good like section of just like commentary notes that's listed. I had to like find someone's blog talking about these notes essentially. So Imaishi basically asked to animate that entire sequence, essentially. If you don't know, he's the director of Gurren Lagann, Dead Leaves,
Kill la Kill.
So
I think this blog that you're reading was written before Kill la Kill even came out.
Yeah, this is out in 2009, this blog.
Yep, that was pre Kill la Kill. That was pre what was the other Imaishi thing? I guess that was it. Kill la Kill's like the big one that he did. Okay, whatever. Keep reading.
But they call it. But apparently, they also had heavy influence from Masahiko Atsuka on episode 4, where he used techniques from 60 Japanese films to make some of those trippy scenes that we saw in episode 4. But basically, yeah, Imaishi, if you don't know, you see a lot of those like same kind of fights from all those in there. And
I'm trying to think of what's like a go-to. Basically, like any time you see like the weird character deformation in like Kill la Kill,
or the Kill la Kill thing of like here's some background jobber just kind of just really like, just like a sliding door come into scene.
Oh, Panty and Stocking. That's the other. Yeah, he also did Panty and Stocking, which I guess might have been. I think Panty and Stocking was 2009. So yeah, like I mean, you watch that work and like you can see how he handles like the big exaggeration of like character designs, but also can like really buckle down and do these incredible action sequences.
Yes.
Which we get a lot of both of that in this one sequence.
Fun fact. You know his fat cat?
Yes.
Voiced by Anno.
I believe that. Anno does weird voice acting. Anno voices the main character in the last Miyazaki movie.
Interesting.
In the Wind Rises. Like Miyazaki was like, Ano-san, I would love for you to voice the main character of my last movie. He's like, sure.
Sure, why not? You want to be this fat cat? Like, I can meow.
That's very funny. That's like a very
Ano
cats. Move. Ano?
Yeah, Ano probably loves cats.
Oh, so. He probably does.
He loves cats and penguins.
Cats understand him, I feel. Like no one else.
It's probably why he made the joke about, like, everybody loves, all the animators love cats. Except for that one guy who likes dogs.
Oh, yeah, who is that? Oshi. Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's some ridiculously well animated fight like sequences. Like you just like it's hard to describe. You should just go out and just watch this scene specifically.
It just looks great.
If you just want to watch one thing, just Google the fight, and you'll get your money's worth out of that search.
It looks great.
And yeah, so and it basically ends with her like basically we get the mention of what's his name, Adamus or Adamas?
Animus? I thought it was spelled Animus.
It's spelled Adam with a SK at the end.
Adamisk?
Yeah. So, and basically that, like, she wants to get him, and I thought she was pulling out, I forgot, because like, it was going to be a slingshot, but she basically pulled out really tiny, I thought it was going to be a guitar pick at first.
It looks like a guitar pick, but I think it's supposed to be...
It comes to slingshot, as we see.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be, like, the guitar that she rode, the Flying V.
I thought it'd just be, because it was really...
I guess it could be either,
It was way too small, because like, oh yeah, this is fucking small usual.
Yeah, she makes a joke, she's like, oh, now Tiz is so much bigger.
But
yeah, so he also his eyebrows fall off in that scene. What's his name?
What?
The
Amuro?
Is that the guy's
Amaro?
name?
The eyebrows?
The eyebrows guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, his eyebrows fall off, and he basically becomes like a sniveling wimp.
A sniveling little worm.
Yeah, and so it's very funny. So after the last time, so Sam and I recorded last time, we watched episodes 1 through 4. Then I, for some reason, mentioned Daikon 4. And I was like, Sam, we should watch Daikon 4 if you haven't seen it. And we did. And it's very funny that we did because in this next episode...
It's literally just Daikon trailer updated.
Yeah, like... what's her face?
Haru.
Haru
is the bunny.
Haruko literally says Daikon. She makes the like a fucking
Which is
kind
of crazy where they did that as well in the dub. Because we're watching the dub for it. So like they literally told like the actors like just say Daikon.
Just reference Daikon.
Don't worry about what it means. Like it's just funny that they use that. They changed so many other things like Crystal Pepsi and like all those little things.
It's impossible to localize that because it's like it's a very explicit reference to like Gainax's early work. So if you haven't seen it, Daikon 4 was a thing animated by a lot of the founders of Gainax before Gainax. Technically, Daikon was like I explained this to Sam last time, so this is more for the audience. Daikon is like this old otaku convention back in the early 80s.
Or a ball pit.
There was perhaps a ball pit.
I know, in a ball pit.
I can't remember if I talked about this already.
Probably.
But whatever. The whole thing with her flying on the guitar is very much a reference to the girl from the Daikon video. She rides around on a giant knife or giant sword rather. But
yeah,
in a bunny suit.
The whole thing, she's gonna fight the thing that came out of Naruto when we had the whole thing with Mimimi, essentially, where she like doesn't give back the love, and while they're on top of the creature, which is like it revealed to be a giant hand at the end, but like it's like a giant trench coat wearing thing that pulls out guns everywhere, like
which is so fucking cool.
It's so rad, and we learned the hands are all just the fingers essentially.
It's really great how that like is conveyed because at first it feels like it could just be like a million hands under there.
Yeah.
But the way that it like pulls out the guns, it's really fucking cool.
When it flips around, it's so cool. It's really well animated, and Naruto gets like really angry because she calls out for his brother, and he summons Kanti and just has this really epic Gurren Lagann like shot of him just like standing like about to get in the robot, just being like, "I'm the one that's gonna save you. Why are you calling for my brother?" He has a big big dick energy going in there, like a big angry dick.
It's like when Shinji, I can't remember what episode it is, but there's one episode where Shinji gets like, he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in the Eva. And he jumps inside the mouth of Kanti and goes Super Saiyan. Yeah, and they just him and Haru just destroy it, essentially, and just leave a giant, basically they leave a giant hand because they pierce through the hand, like a perfect hole. Which we learn later that like apparently a key part, there was like a very important like part was what was pierced through, and that becomes like the thing in the next episode, but it gets lost. Yeah. So the hand basically petrifies like into stone. It's like a core. Yeah, core. That's what they call it. But that scene is so cool. So we end up learning. Is it in this one or the next one? Well, ultimately we learn that like. That's the next one when he meets with Naoto in like the construction site. Okay. He explains about her. So we really don't know why it's just like a giant hand, and apparently I think I read this somewhere. Apparently it's an actual photograph of a hand, and it definitely looks like it's really cool. It's a right hand that's like hanging right over the town, like right over the iron. Well, it's right next to the iron. Yeah, and apparently it is the director's hand. I'm not surprised. Which is funny. I guess he's right-handed. And basically, so Naoto got spit out from the bullet, and basically Haru looks like she falls in love with Kanti, and then we learn next episode starts in the FLCL FL Climax, I guess it's called. FL Climax. The CL and Climax also capitalized that they ran away together. Essentially, they disappeared. Yeah, and it's apparently been a bit. It's been like several weeks, I think, a few days, several weeks, and Naoto is like really fucked up by it. He's like putting on like a tough guy front. And he's like an adult now. He's drinking coffee. He's not doing like the silly little things that children do. Yeah. But really, we know deep down he's hurting. And Amr, yes, we say Amr does this. I love this one little gag where like he like shows up on like a moped, but like he's like on the topmost pipe, which makes no sense. And basically, yeah, you say he explains that her objective is to free he wants to say Adamus, but it's like. I thought they were saying Animus, and then he turns into like a big bird at the end. Spoiler alert. So I thought it was supposed to be like animal. Like Animus, yeah, like from the Assassin's Creed series. Sure. Also, because like he explained that's like she's in love with him and she wants to free him essentially, and it's gonna use him to get him. Yeah, and apparently that is like her ultimate goal. Like she doesn't care if like people die or whatever. It's what the medical mechanica like has in her plan essentially. Yeah. And
So yeah, he slaps on his eyebrow, saying, "Forget about her. She's just gonna use you. It's better off to move on. You haven't the high school girl. She needs a friend right now because she's not in a good space." And Natsu's like, "Fuck that. Fuck her."
Yeah, he's kind of being a dick, and it's interesting too. So the little joke in the background is that the black cat that
Takun.
the Takun, one of the many Takuns, and now has found a cute little wife,
A white cat,
or I guess a husband,
just like Sailor Moon. When there's two.
True, a black and a white cat, and it's cute. But then you see, oh shit, Mamimi is now alone. Everyone has abandoned her, even her cat.
She got splashed.
Her. She got splashed by a big moped.
Yeah.
And she ends up finding a cute little... I love this thing. Reminded me so much of...
Fuchida.
No, not Fuchida. It reminded me so much of the first form of it. The NES robot that the girl in Little Witch Academia, the mute girl makes.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Just the way it moved, it felt like the guy who did it probably wasn't the same guy.
Could have been.
But it had like the same kind of like energy to it of like this tiny little like mechanical thing that like bounces around and moves like really well. Like initially it moves like with like a lot of intention and it's really well animated, but
but yeah, they tell him you go move on, and then he goes home and Haru's there.
She's back, and they do another manga scene.
Yes,
they make a few jokes about it too.
We almost see his dad's ball sack.
Yes, very funny.
So and they joke about like how like they said we had to do another manga scene because they're saying we're getting lazy and everything. Yeah. So apparently the manga scene was very very nearly impossible to animate because it had to be. They weren't sure if they were doable. Apparently, the animators.
I honestly don't know how they did it because it looks like they had just made a manga. Like it looks like they had actually made a physical. Like, because the page layout looks like it makes sense.
Apparently, after they got it done, they told the staff basically told the director to say, "Just never do that again," and then he made him do it again for episode 6.
That's very funny.
Apparently, they put effect on it to slowly degrading into the pencil drawings as if the artists were about to miss a deadline. So he put effect to make it look like it was rougher, like they had to rush. They had to rush it.
Well, yeah. At the end, it really just kind of degrades.
It shows them
nothing.
Walking away with the actual manga panel at the end,
which is really
love
funny.
That. But I thought it's really funny.
I was trying to find out who did that, like, because in my head I thought maybe they just got one guy to do it, but maybe it was a communal effort.
From what it sounds like they had to.
It might have just been the whole team working together.
All hands on deck for that.
I love those scenes though; they're so fun.
But
they're just pure chaos.
They're very good. Saying the word "fully coolly" again. His grandfather
comes back.
His grandfather's ass crack is why he's just so many butts.
So the joke here too is that they're eating like these spicy fish eggs or something, and then. So she went to Hawaii. Her and Kanti went to Hawaii.
They say Hawaii.
That's true.
It also says like you don't get those fish eggs in Hawaii. They don't...
That's true. So yeah, maybe she just lied. Maybe she just went somewhere else.
She's a fucking liar / gaslighter / manipulator.
She could just fly to Hawaii though.
She could. I mean, Kanti can just hover there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's back, and basically Naoto just runs away with her essentially, and like this.
Yeah, the one scene, so they go back up to his bedroom, and he has this one scene where he basically like, he's like, "I missed you," and starts crying, and she like embraces him, and it's legitimately like
emotional.
It's a very emotional scene, but it also makes me mad that I'm feeling so emotional. Yeah, she's horrible.
She's horrible. She's using him,
and it just, I don't know, like there's something very real about that.
Even this boy doesn't really understand like the emotions too much, like for like real emotions yet.
Yeah, he's just at the point where he doesn't really. He doesn't know that it's bad. He's just kind of like finally letting his tough guy front down. And he breaks and cries.
To the worst person possible.
Yeah.
And
literally a nightmare situation.
So yeah, she basically just runs off with him, and like we get always a recurring thing of like it cuts back to like his friends in school and like the rumors that start and everything. Where like now having come to school, the teachers have a parent teacher conference. They all think they ran off with her and like. And what's it called? It's just like them just kind of have to deal with rumors. It's like a really common thing in this show, especially with like the friends when it cuts to his school friends about the talk of town. And that's why he got all cocky because like everybody finds out that he was the one that baseball batted the satellite away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also basically cut between that and Mamimi feeding the dog more,
which I love. I love these.
Because the first thing she eats is the cell phone because the cell phone she had the number of his brother. And that's why like she didn't want him to eat it right away until she like finally like
she kind of lets it go. That's kind of the thing is like she ultimately that's the moment
never knows that
she lets it go that she won't be with the brother anymore. Like so she's like, all right, I have to like I'm gonna go on a freaking revenge quest.
I got my American. I watched American Psycho. I watched what's it
Fight
called,
Club.
Joker. I watched
I
Fight
watched
Club.
Joker.
I watched Nightcrawler.
I watched Scarlet Witch, which is Joker for girls.
And I made my revenge list. I'm gonna like go down these steps with my fucking dog and and eat everything. Eat that guy who got me wet.
So one thing I really like too is a little detail of her keeping like a log of all the people that have wronged her.
So funny.
That is like serial killer behavior.
So fucked up.
And she goes and like she makes the dog eat like their Vespas and cars and shit.
Yeah, eats the kids' work van or work truck.
Yeah, that's
really
when it
funny.
gets out of control. I love the design of the dog.
It's very good.
Perfect. It's so good.
And so eventually it also they spot Naoto sleeping with Haru on the bench, like homeless people,
which is fucked. Like it's and it sucks that like Naoto just accepts this lifestyle. Like he just thinks that this is the best thing to be because he's in love with her. Oh, I think he did actually say "I love you" to her. He confessed his love to her.
At the very end.
Oh, that was at the very end. Okay.
That's like one of the key moments, but we'll get to. But yeah, so they basically the dog is out of control and it kind of grows huge, and they basically just go because the Amuro gets kidnapped, Mamimi gets kidnapped. They all get conveniently like attached to the robot.
Well, the funniest part is when so Kanti has not been in this episode at all, and then
they just bump into him.
Literally bump into him, and he's like a crossing guard for like
for children.
For children, and I love he's wearing like this really. He looks like a middle-aged woman.
I know.
He has like a really big like coat on. It's very funny, and then he just immediately gets consumed by the robot.
Yeah, because the core, because the robot was like part of the core.
Yeah.
Or Kanti was a part of the core, and then this thing is also the core. So it's kind of just eating everything and. We basically it's just another action set piece essentially where like Amuro's like attempting to shoot it, but then we see Haru and Naoto show up, and he's like basically Naoto's in the middle of Amuro and Haru. He's like, where'd your eyebrows go? Like, stay away from me, stay away from her. She's bad.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about it. So Amuro gave Naoto fake eyebrows, like his, and it was supposed to be during the time when he's acting like an adult. But yeah,
he kind of kept it on. But it's just like the fake front to put on, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, he basically said, like, yeah, don't trust her. She's just using you. Like, this bitch is toxic. You're Johnny Depp and she's Amber Heard.
Oh my god.
Like, he goes to her and he gets hit in the head with the guitar and. Did you ever forget the whole thing? Also, she hit him in the head with the guitar when he came back from the manga. Like, remember the manga panel scene happened? She hit him in the head.
She tried to.
No, remember she tried to. And then she did.
She does hit him. Yeah.
On the rebound, she hit him.
And he puts a bandit on, so we know that he must have something under there.
Yeah.
Which we find out later, I guess, is like the symbol that's on Kanti's.
Essentially, I guess the Adamus symbol.
I guess so.
But that's what happens. That's what he appears on his head when he goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically he comes out in the suit, like they kill the robot essentially, and out comes like Naoto in like I guess I don't know the actual I can't remember the term for it, but he has the Adamus power of like.
Well, so one other thing, Haru Haru throws him in. Haru basically betrays him.
Not even betraying. He lets her do whatever she wants to him because he didn't resist or anything. He wasn't like react to anything. He was just like he was kind of like a husk kind of when you see him because he doesn't say anything. He just drags his feet over to her.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, he gets consumed by it, and then it's getting ready to like fill in because he was the last piece that was needed, and it's falling down. It's gonna crush Amuro, and then Kanti he appears, clutching the hand, keeping the hand from crushing Amuro, and then out of his big face. Naoto rips out. It's pretty cool. He's holding 2 guitars.
A Gibson Flying V and a EBO 1961 Gibson bass guitar.
Is that the part when they're like, "Oh my god, the EB1"?
Wow, well, I wish it reminds me of time. You got a flying Gibson V out of his head. But what's it called? Also, there's a cool shot of like the medical mechanica plant with like the hand grabbing it. Just sitting there.
So yeah, and what we learn is basically like there is like a race of aliens that are using these giant irons to basically like iron out like all life and flatten planet surfaces.
Because we see a very brief glimpse of like what Naoto's like looking at right now, like when he's like thrown into the core.
Yeah,
and it's just like I'm like, oh, this is like the rumbling happening.
It's like actually literally the rumbling because they're like all crushing. It's like a wave of irons crushing with steam behind them.
Also, we saw the groove, like the back shot of what his design looks like, Adamus. where it's just like he looks like what was the Emperor in One Punch Man? Kind of like that kind of look to him.
Wait, which Emperor?
Remember the end of the first scene of One Punch Man?
Oh yes, I forget that guy's name.
But it looked like kind of like a red version of him.
Kind of. To me, it looked a lot like
very Gurren Lagann.
Yes, it was very Gurren Lagann with like the way that like they look when they transform and they're in their hyper modes.
But basically, Haru gets pissed because he has the power that she wanted essentially. And she kind of goes after him, and fucking Naoto just like makes easy work of her. And he kind of looks like he's going for the last hit, and he gets out of the form and tells Haru that he loves her and kisses her.
Yeah, and then is that when like the big wings appear?
Adamus fully
come out of his head.
Yeah, that's when Adamus fully comes out of the his empty head.
And it's interesting because I thought he was going to take the iron away, but he doesn't. He lifts it up and then drops it.
Yeah.
But then he just fucking fucks off. He flies away.
He just blasts into space. And
Team Rocket.
What's it called? Haruko takes the guitar and chases after what's it called? He basically finds the old bass guitar that she's had the entire series in rubble while she like kind of fucks off essentially.
Oh yeah, the town also is in ruins. Like during the final bit.
Millions injured.
Yeah. But yeah, so Haruko basically is like, you foiled my plans now to.
But we get that.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
That iconic shot of him standing back facing you, looking like into the horizon with a guitar in his hand, and Mamimi, which I love this like shot of her with her messy hair, and she takes a picture of him, and as we kind of get the epilogue of like basically Mamimi leaves because she's probably going to pursue photography or and kind of maybe get a new start.
Well, presumably she like got that photo submitted to a magazine.
National Enquirer.
Because we see the dad. Well, we know the dad had like a publication like background, and then we see him reading a magazine. We see that shot again, the one that she took.
Yeah.
So presumably, I don't know if she like is getting into. They like insinuate that she's like moving on to like a more artistic lifestyle of photography.
She's not like hanging on to the past of this town. She's moving on to further herself.
Yeah, which good for her.
Good for her.
She's a piece of shit, but good for her.
Naoto thinks people can't change him. she loves her steak sloppy.
She would love a sloppy steak. But yeah, and then they kind of like flash forward a bit. They're in middle school now. The kids are like kind of being kids, like their lives are back to normal. They kind of have this idea that they bring up in the beginning of the episode where Naoto talks about how like nothing ever changes in this town. Now that Haruko's gone, everything is just worse. Like it feels like you're dying slowly every day. It's such a teen angst thing.
Living in the country sure is boring.
I would never say that. But no, it's literally like that, unironically. Like, but then at the end of the episode, he kind of like he has like a similar monologue, but it's way more accepting. It's more like I don't know. He kind of has accepted life like as it is, which he should, because having Haruko around is horrible for everyone.
Toxic.
Literally, I would say it goes beyond toxic because she wants to literally destroy all life on Earth. If it means getting her goals, she will destroy all life on Earth.
Getting her boy back.
Literally getting her boyfriend back.
But
damn. Do you think Haruko has one-itis?
Hey, that bass string like strong. She's gonna come back, maybe. And then we cut through
I'm presumably there's several sequels of this, so I'm guessing Haruko is going to be the main character of them.
I guess so.
Damn, I would really hate it if Naoto is in any of the follow-up seasons.
I have no idea. All I've ever seen is Haru come back, or seen like, but I don't know of anybody else. I'm literally in the dark.
If any other fucking character comes back, I'm gonna be furious. I already am mad that we have to.
It's
watch
gonna be the
these.
Peter Griffin opening the door, like, "Oh, hi, Mumimi, how you doing?" Takun.
Oh, hi.
Oh, Takun.
What's her name? Namimi?
Oh, Fat Cat, voiced by professional director of Evangelion, Hideki Anno. What are you doing here? Meow.
But yeah, and then thus ends Furikuri. Their town is like, I guess their town has kind of been rebuilt. We see like a shot where there's a lot of cars going into town. There's like a lot of bridges now. So I'm guessing the idea is that like maybe things have changed. The town isn't kind of like
they
a weird
improved the infrastructure of this shitty town.
Yeah, after all they had to do was have everything get destroyed. But yeah, it's just, it kind of leaves a lot open actually. Like we don't really know what Amano, what's his name?
Adamus?
No.
Oh yeah. Basically anybody of the organization.
Yeah, the secret
of the alien
organization.
task force, essentially.
They just kind of fuck off. So I like hate that I'm thinking about this, but I'm kind of interested in his backstory. Like, do you think that he got into that position because of her?
An interesting idea for a spin-off that's not a sequel to the series and more of a prequel. What happened to him?
I do hate prequels, but I am curious about like his backstory.
And like the fact that
we got like Ava has like an episode that's basically like a prequel for like Nerve and like all the main characters. If we got like if we got 5 minutes of that with him, I would have liked it.
Of Haru in the past going to like finding like other people with like the channel, the empty space in their head, and like trying and like manipulating them.
Yeah, I think that would have been kind of interesting, but we didn't need it. Fully Cooley's great. It's fine as is.
Yes.
We definitely don't need many sequel series. It just feels like there's so much passion. Feels like there's so much love behind this. Like you can tell the team really just went out of their way to make something that they were super connected to. They knew that it would have like a super niche audience, and ironically, it exploded overseas.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was aired like on like Adult Swim randomly, and like just became like a huge thing over here, especially. Like a lot of people, including like myself, grew up watching or like because there's only 6 episodes. You can just watch. They would air it all in one go, and you just watch an episode or two and just be like blown away by like what you're seeing. Not even by like you don't even have to know the story like me when I first watched it, because I was too young to really like understand a lot of things. Where you just go, whoa, this animation's fucking crazy. Anime can do this shit. Like I watched so many episodes of Dragon Ball Z and shit. Like, it don't have the animation's not like this.
It never looks as good.
It's like one hit and then they like monologue for a bit. Like, but this is just like you're like up at like you're staying up past like maybe midnight or 1 a.m. You know, on a weekend, and you just see the gunfight scene. Like, imagine what that does for someone like first seeing anime.
Exactly. There's so much like I mean, I've talked about this before, and I love the aesthetic that a lot of 90s like OVA anime have. And it's crazy to me how much I feel like people would have a different perception of anime if they just watched the like. I really my next pick. I think I want us to watch Gunsmith Cats. It's only 3-episode OVA, but it's so fucking fun. We haven't seen that.
I think we do that, or I want to do a Gunbuster and Diebuster.
That would be a good one too. We'll just do the Gun trilogy.
We'll do a whole Gynax like.
Gynax retrospective.
Gynax good shit.
Well, Gunsmith Cats isn't Gynax. I don't know who did that one, but it's just like this great. Like it's based off a longer manga, but no one really cares about the manga. The OVAs are awesome. It's about these 2 girls in America who run a gun store.
Yeah, you told me about this, I think.
Yeah, I was just like floored when I watched it recently. I thought it was so
Cute
fucking.
girls gun store anime.
I think in the 2nd episode they have an extended car chase scene, and it's incredible looking because it's all hand animated. You don't get this shit anymore. But they always CG the cars now.
Even like I've been like, reading through like the blog about the director notes, and just like so many like little things that like they just like. Try to shoot their shit like into the show. Like if the one thing about like Conti wasn't originally supposed to be in the show. Like the director like what's it called Tsurumaki like really wanted a robot in the show, but wasn't confident he could write a story without a robot in it. But yeah, and like he just designed one anyway and pretty much forced it into the show. And we got Conti, who's like one of the most unique robot mech designs in like anything. It's
very funny because he does feel forced in, but his scenes are so wonderful that like
they're so charming because he didn't say a word, but he just like you just see by his actions where he's just helping people.
Yeah, he just has such a lovely character, and it adds a nice like grounding to the series in that way.
And he said when he designed Conti, he didn't want to look like any other anime robot, so that's why he gave him like a square head and kind of made like a TV looking.
Even his body doesn't really look like other anime robots at the time.
And apparently even more like you know how Nato had the horns and everything. Apparently Nato just supposed to have an empty head, but they just wanted a way to visually like convey of something weird happening to him. And apparently this like really made the writer of Utena, Yoji Enokita, very happy because if you couldn't tell, he loves sexual innuendos in his shit. If you couldn't tell by Utena or even Sarazamai.
Well, that's a different guy.
Or
the creator of Utena.
I just meant Utena. I didn't mean Sarazamai. That's the director. I'm saying, but this guy wrote it. Did he write? What else did he?
I don't know. So Utena, the team
he said
that
he wrote Oran OMG.
The team that made Utena was like a special team that got put together. So I don't know if they all worked together after that. But I forget the guy's name, the director of Utena.
But I think what's it called? Having like the horn was a great way of like basically showing off a I guess like the sexual innuendo, but also just like the the puberty kind of like and like the hormones started really happening. It really
It's
shows
a good
off.
it's a good metaphor.
Yes, a good metaphor, but also having a visually like really cool thing of just having somebody have a headache and then just having something just phase out of your head or something.
So Ikuhara is the director
Ikuharu.
of Utena.
Got it.
I'm not sure what'd you say that guy's name? Yoji something?
What's it called? Yeah, Yoji Enokido.
I'm gonna look it up really quick. I'm just curious if I'll recognize anything.
But yeah, I think overall, like, it's fucking good show. The dub is, I said, this is probably my favorite dub ever.
It's a very good
A very iconic voice. Everybody's voice is like very memorable.
Oh, so this guy actually did he did the script for he's written scripts for Sailor Moon, Ava, Fully Cooley, Utena, Redline, like just a lot of stuff.
I get all those vibes from everything. Like I even mentioned the cats were like Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just being like working on it, just getting like the influence from it. But like, yeah,
that's probably the Ikuhara connection too.
Yeah,
because Ikuhara got his directing start on Sailor Moon.
But yeah, I really love this anime. It's still one of my fucking top 3 of all time.
It's really good. I need to watch it again before I like give it a ranking if it's in my top 10. I still the first episode and the first half of the second episode just for some reason just don't really resonate with me. I don't know why, but I think a lot of Gainax stuff like needs to ramp up. Like Gurren Lagann I think needs to ramp up for me. Even Ava in a way. I know a lot of people have a hard time getting into Ava and they think the second half's better.
I can tell you that for sure.
I think Ava's fantastic start to finish. I think it does. There's a tiny little dip in the middle. There's one episode that I'm not a big fan of, but
I think that's a lot of things. I can see, you say that about most animes, like Gurren Lagann. Sure. There's one episode that nobody really like super into.
Well, that one's early. That's really early.
But still.
And I really do have like an issue with some of the first bit of Gurren Lagann. I think for me it took.
There's a very key moment when everything changes and you're like, now okay, I'm on board.
Yep, it's when the Gurren Laganns.
I would love, but yeah. So it's still one of my favorite animes of all time. I think it still holds up.
It's really interesting looking at it now that we're like, we're about 20 years like forward from it, and so many of the references date like 20 years past.
Yes.
So it's just or like 20 years past from when it was made. So they're talking about like 40 years of context. It's really interesting to look back and like see what things that are referenced are still beloved today. Like Lupin is huge.
It's a strange mixture of like Japan references and like a lot of like the U.S. kind of references. Like we said, I feel like Crystal Pepsi was like a thing more so in the U.S. and I felt like Japan. Or that was a dub thing. That was a dub thing, but yes. But like I meant like South Park and everything was really interesting.
There were several South Park references.
Just to go from like Lupin to South Park is like weird.
It feels like there's a lot of
in the same episode.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of like less specific Western references. It's hard to tell though what is transferred, what was not transferred in the sub versus
Nazi
the
uniform.
I would really like to watch the sub one day to see like if there's any jokes any references they need to just write out or like write around.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that I was surprised to hear them name drop like Oshii and like. At the time, American audiences wouldn't really know about like all these different anime creators.
Like, see, this is literally them saying Daikon and like the dub was like really weird.
Yeah, like I don't even know when that really became.
And that's like before YouTube
known in the West.
And like YouTube wasn't a thing at the time either. So it's just like, I know the dub came out like 2003, I think, and just to have that out there without like anybody even knowing what the fuck, can't even look up what Daikon really is because the internet's still like in its infancy essentially.
The only way that people really saw like underground anime like that were at like animation conventions and like there would be like screenings at those. So it's crazy to think like how few people American audience would have even known what Daikon was, let alone have seen it to get that reference. Like it creates an interesting thing where a lot of people who watch that as kids will see like references to that as like a Fully Cooley reference rather than a Daikon reference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of works. Like it's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's very like referential. I don't know. There's also this whole greater discussion that Anno has made a big deal about where anime creators now, and by now it's like the last decade and a half, are really only inspired by anime.
Yeah.
And it's very incestuous rather than like people bringing like new experiences into it. That's why so much anime is kind of the same tropes, the same cliches over and over again. Isekai is kind of just like a cesspit of like one idea that is just being like
That's
recycled over
whatever
and
the
over again.
flavor of the month really gets that happens to. It happened to isekai. It probably happened to like the mecha genre at one point. It probably happened to like the shonen, this kind of the shonen standard shonen plot.
I would say it's happening currently to the shonen. Actually, it's shonen's in a weird spot right now where there's a lot of really like exciting new things.
Yeah.
Even though everything is still shonen, like it's still capital S shonen.
And like it was like that for a lot of stuff. But like, you know, when you get this one thing that's freshened up everything, like it's just gonna like change up everything, man.
The stuff from this era is like really some of the greatest stuff made. It just looks incredible.
I found a quote by the director of Avatar: Last Airbender. Said like, "You owe it to yourself to buy Fooly Cooly. Like you owe it. It's so good."
Yeah, there's just something like I think something the Western audiences just hadn't seen, because like you could say like, oh well, like Evangelion was like really popular, like people would own tapes and share tapes of that, but it doesn't have the same feel of the kinetic energy that like Imaishi's directing brings into it.
Where that people had to find like he said VHSs or like burned VHSs of like Evangelion, where like
people would do fan subs on VHS. You know how hard that is?
It's insane. And then, but for this is like a completely different thing where like this would like frequently air on Adult Swim randomly, so you could catch it like just late night, just randomly watching TV, which is like a thing we would what else are you gonna do at that late at night?
Yeah, it's so weird too, because it's not like I can't think of any other time that OVAs were turned into like a series.
Yeah.
That was shown like a what's the word syndicated.
Yeah.
Very weird.
It's very unique situation, and it's just kind of crazy how it blew up for popularity. But I swear they get surprised when something blows up on like Adult Swim or Toonami now, because like apparently like when they brought back Toonami as like an April Fool's joke, the ratings were so well that they just brought it back permanently because people like being able to watch anime
it's like a nostalgia thing.
It's a giant adult Toonami. Like you don't really want to watch it weekly anymore because you can't really. You can just so many way easier to do that. But it's like more of like a sample for people who just like want to check out a bunch of random animes. Like you can go from like Naruto and like
My Hero Academia,
My Hero to Attack on Titan. But it also goes into like Food Wars, and like they're showing Made in Abyss now on there.
That's crazy.
And it's like
that is absolutely insane.
It's like a huge and like it's just Sword Art in there at like 3 a.m. and it's just like a crazy like with like a sample plate. So you're like, oh, this is like when I watch Weekly. Oh, this is a random middle episode. This is interesting. Maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I'll because like, I had to go to Barnes and Noble to find the manga or check our library. Then maybe they'll have like a volume or two.
I have such a nostalgia for that era. I know it's like the bad nostalgia. It's like I was born in the wrong generation where I didn't have my phone all the time and I couldn't listen to any song I ever wanted on YouTube. But I do have nostalgia for like that thing. Like Sci-Fi Channel had like a late night anime block before Adult Swim even existed, I think. And I forget what it's called. It's called like Annie Saturdays or something.
Yeah, I never really watched the Sci-Fi
I never watched
one.
it either, but they would show like real classics. Like they showed like the Urusei Yatsura movie. I think I must have showed this to you, but they had so in between like commercial breaks, they had like a presenter, like an actress, and her name is
kind of like their Joe Bob Briggs or Elvira, just having like the host. Yeah.
Exactly, and the whole gimmick was that she was a real anime girl, so she's a white girl, and her name was
the
like
original VTuber.
Literally, her name is like Apollo Justice or something.
She wishes she was a Phoenix Wright character.
Okay, wait, that is her name is Apollo something. And I'm obsessed with her because she literally is like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And you can find some of the clips on YouTube.
This Apollo lady's my comfort character.
She unironically is. And it's so cool because she'll be like, Rumiko Takahashi wrote a very popular manga called Urusei Yatsura.
They were literally trying to show like Elvira, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, it's just like they wanted to have like a presenter to give context, because like when you show someone has never heard of Urusei Yatsura and you show the movie, like you have to kind of introduce that to someone. Like Urusei Yatsura is a massive franchise in Japan, but like people in America didn't really like know who Lum was until she became like a weird what's it called, like a what's that vaporwave? She became like a weird vaporwave mascot, and then everyone talks about Lum now. But yeah, I've still not seen that movie. I want to watch it.
I'm trying to find her name.
Oh my god, it's gonna bug me. I love her so much. Apollo something. I'm so obsessed. It was like a weird thing they did for a little bit, but yeah, Sci-Fi
And
Channel.
they showed like Vampire Hunter D on there.
Oh, that's fucking oh, you haven't seen that yet, have you?
No.
Oh, we
I
need
know
to
of it.
fucking watch
But-
Vampire Hunter D.
But because of you watch Girl Island, I was able to check out Adult Swim so many times. Or I found Cowboy Bebop.
Apollo Smile. Sorry.
That sounds like a fucking like idol name,
I love her so much.
like
I'm
a fictional video
obsessed.
game idol.
She's apparently a singer, but
I'm not surprised.
I am so obsessed that this is how Sci-Fi Channel chose to market anime in the late 90s.
Is that what the hosts look like?
This is Apollo Smile.
God, looks like a cosplayer, like a.
Guess what?
It was like a cosplayer that like found like a bodysuit and is like, I'm cosplaying.
That was like the set she's on.
It's literally just a fucking bodysuit with her hair and twin tails and like goggles.
Yeah, Sam, she's an anime.
She
she's
could be
Sam. She's a real life anime girl.
It's her OC from Totally Spies. She's the Force spy.
So yeah, they showed Galaxy Express 999 and Urusei Yatsura. And this, I mean, I love like that early anime, like the people who were so passionate about it that had like the power to show it on television.
It
shaped the whole generation.
And it probably helped why so many people, fully coolly like that people got into like Cowboy Bebop got so big because it was huge down over here because it aired on Toonami.
In Japan, Cowboy Bebop didn't get canceled, but they stopped airing it.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even. It wasn't very popular in Japan at all. It didn't like finish its airing. That's how little interest it was.
And
it got like time slot switched.
And I always feel like it like a lot of things can be cult. I think like Outlaw Star and like Big O became a cult classics over here. I feel because I always hear people talk about like that like more so like I used to love that show.
Well, yeah, and then the famous thing where they funded a season of Big O.
Yeah.
The Adult Swim had like commission, but they were able to like I guess get one funded because it was such a popular one over here.
Yeah,
I still need to watch Big O. I feel like I really enjoy it.
Yeah, but what I hear is just like Batman but mecha.
And he has a cool like sexy robot.
See how many episodes it is. There's so many things we want to watch now coming from this.
I just watching old anime gets me so excited because like there's so much good shit that exists already. I don't need to wait for it weekly.
But now we get to ruin it when we have Adult Swim like
funding
like decades later, 1 or 2 decades later, putting out money for additional sequel series for Fully Cooley.
Yeah.
So, there anything else you wanna? Any other final thoughts? And what are your final your final thoughts, your final feelings of Fully Cooley season 1? You have any other?
Oh, so there's 13 episodes in each season. There's 2 seasons of Big O.
Ooh, Big O be rad.
I would love to watch Big O.
Big O, watch Outlaw. We just do a Toonami where we got Big O, Outlaw Star.
I didn't like Outlaw Star. We watched one episode,
but I would love to at least keep going with it because I think
I could find something to enjoy with it.
The cat girl.
No, she's like my least favorite part. But so yeah, final thoughts about Fully Cooley. I really love it. I mean, I love this era of Gainax. I think it's
you can see why so many people love it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand. It was unlike anything a lot of people had seen at the time, which is funny because I don't want to call it derivative, but it was certainly like, it was certainly like referencing a lot of things, and it took a lot of inspiration from other work, but it has like such a fresh energy to it. It really does feel like its own thing. Like that's the thing too. Compared to other Gainax stuff, it really stands on its own. Which is impressive.
How do you rank it on your Gainax list so far?
It's pretty high up there. I don't know. What?
Eva?
So I haven't finished a lot of the Gainax shows. Eva would definitely be my favorite.
Yeah.
His and Her Circumstances is also really good.
Is it Gunbuster?
Gunbuster? I think I like Gunbuster better, actually. Wow. It just feels like
I think Gurren Lagann technically Gainax.
Gurren Lagann? Yeah, that's Gainax, actually. Hold on. I'm gonna look up a Gainax. I wonder if someone's made like a Gainax tier list.
It probably exists.
Gainax list. It's crazy. It's so weird that Gainax is like dead now, but
it's a shame.
Oh yeah, so okay, I've seen talking to a video. I've seen Gunbuster, Gurren Lagann, His and Her Circumstances. Oh, Cutie Honey. I want to watch those.
You already watched live action Cutie Honey.
I did. Ebichu. They also did Ebichu. I love Ebichu. I guess I've seen more Gainax than I realized.
The live action Cutie Honey from what Jim showed me from what he had to do, like what I watched, is like hilarious.
They made the live action Cutie Honey, and then they made a 3-episode OVA tying into it, and it was directed by, I think each episode was directed by a different guy, but Imaishi did, I think, one of the episodes. He also did the intro, the OP, and it's literally like the greatest OP I've ever seen.
But
it's incredible.
I think you showed me that. I think
I'm sure I did.
But I think even though I love this anime, I think I still find I think Gurren Lagann's still like one of my favorite animes I've ever watched.
Gurren Lagann's really good. I think for me, there's too many like things I don't like about Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, I understand that. But I think like a lot of stuff I really love is just so strong that like I just fucking love everything about it.
It's really good. It's like kind of like the last like Gainax show.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think Penny Sagan came after that, but it doesn't really feel like
No.
It doesn't really feel like the same way as like the old school Gainax shows feel.
It feels
like its own thing.
It's like Inferno Cop, whereas like that's like Trigger's own thing. I don't really think it of a Trigger show right away, but like it's there. It's so enjoyable as its thing, as its own.
It'll be interesting to look at Trigger's legacy compared to Gainax because so much of like what Trigger's done, I feel like is not very memorable. But like, there's a lot of not memorable Gainax stuff as well.
Yeah,
from the same time periods.
But then if you follow Trigger, like you find like little things like Face Patrol Luluco, where you get all these references to Trigger's like whole legacy, and it's awesome.
That's kind of like the Fooly Cooly for Trigger. Space Patrol Luluco is kind of like Trigger's Fooly Cooly.
But it's also just like a multiverse kind of thing of like all like the past shows and like movies they've done, like blending together. From like it's just the biggest like time machine for Trigger. That's not like a product that like all the original stuff, not like the stuff they've like done adaptations for, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I still think the best thing Trigger ever did were the Little Witch OVAs. I think those are like literally incredible.
They fucking did probably
the first one is like my favorite thing ever.
They did one of the best Star Wars revisions shorts.
Oh yeah, I love that one. Imaishi, when Imaishi did is great.
Yeah, but anything else then?
I was just thinking about Trigger for a second.
I'm always thinking about Studio Trigger.
I like Trigger a lot, but like I feel burnt by Trigger because I don't know. It's almost like my expectations are too high because the things that I like about Gainax aren't all the things that get carried over, and sometimes that's good. Like someone like Yo-Yo Shinari who did Little Witch Academia. I don't know how involved he was in Gainax. I think he was in some things. I think he actually did work on Eva too. A lot of these guys got their start, I think, in Eva. But Yo-Yo Shinari, the work that he does is incredible, and like his drawings are amazing. And it doesn't really feel like Gainax to me, but that's fine because it's great. And I think he's doing a new one soon. Oh wait, no, didn't he do the BNA? I think Yo-Yo Shinari did BNA. I should watch it just because I love his drawings. They're really nice.
It's hard to binge watch some anime anymore.
I feel that. I'm too old. Like you were saying about like, every day Toonami. It's like, oh my god, yeah. When I was a kid, I could watch Toonami every day. Now as an adult, I'll be like, it's a chore.
It really is. That's why it's nice to do recording, then be able to watch it. It's a way to watch anime and be productive at the same time.
It is. We have the content brain now. We need to shuffle everything back into content.
But should I wrap it up then?
I think so. I guess we'll finish our first leg of the Fooly Cooly JOSKA-SKA-SKA Fooly Cooly 1 part done.
We'll skank on over to the to the plugs then.
The plug table.
The plug pit.
The plug pit. Yeah. The plug pit. Sounds gross.
Thank you all for listening to season 1 of Fooly Cooly. You don't forget to put some like, comment, subscribe, all those things. You can also follow the podcast.
Wait, one more before we start. It's too late. Never mind.
You literally punch me while I'm doing the moshing in the pit. In the.
I do want to say, adding on in the comments, tell us your favorite Fooly Cooly episode and your least favorite Fooly Cooly episode.
Ooh, episode 5 and episode no.
No, 3's the best one.
No. I'm trying to think 2 maybe.
Episode
or 4. The baseball episode.
That's your favorite or least favorite?
No, least, probably for least.
I think episode 3 is my favorite. I think episode 1 is my least favorite. Maybe tied with episode 4, but episode 4, I like all the things in episode 4 a lot. So I think episode 1 might be my least favorite. Episode 3 is the best, though. I still love that one the most.
I love them all equally.
My children.
My children.
That's pretty cool, right?
Can't they? Episode 3 or episode 4 is the worst because of that.
No, that's episode 3.
3.
That was the one where...
2 numbers.
Numbers.
But also, you can follow the podcast on Twitter or me and Jim separately. You can also join the Discord to discuss all other anime and manga. You can... Yeah,
and manga.
No, we're not talking about Sakura-Con. We can't talk about Sakura-Con. But, and I think with that's about all the plugs. And and now, 18 years after Fooly Cooly first aired...
18.
We will go into the progressive season 2 era.
Dare I say we'll progress forward?
I don't know. If this is the cute girl fully coolly season, or this is the other or the other one.
We should call it JOSKA-SKA-SKA regressive.
Skanking edition.
Skanking edition, because it's gonna be regressing into shit I don't like.
I don't know. I'm curious. Do you think we'll get another character back that's other than not including Haru?
I hope to God not. I hope to God not.
I hope to God not either.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be like. I think we're gonna get like totally self-contained.
Will they
stories
mention
going
them?
forward. I'm sure she'll be like, Takud was a little boy that I wanted to fuck.
Hey, what the fuck? I'm an old alien.
I'm an old alien bitch.
Why does she sound old?
Because she's like 400,000 years old.
Maybe like, I don't know. It'd be like pretty cool. We're here, pretty cool. And like from the side, it'd just be like, I'm the mayor now.
That would be fucking dumb. All right.
And with that, we'll see you in Fully Cooley Season 2 Progressive.
Fully Cooley Friday next week.
Bye-bye.